British slang. Darren Landrum.
Hello. Well, hopefully I can keep this a little more lighthearted. I am Darren Landrum. I am going to talk to you a little bit about the slang language that they like to use over in Britain. Why British slang? I am a huge fan of British comedy. I watch a lot I watch everything I can get my hands on, basically, including what are called comedy panel shows, which are, I think, one of the most amazing, formats ever created. And there's also a lot of language involved too. I'm a big fan of language and of playing with language. And the people of Britain are a master of playing with language. So, which British slang? Well, there's a phrase called taking the piss, and I'm going to explain what that means. So hopefully nobody's offended by that. And I'm going to go into a bit of Cockney rhyming slang. So what is taking the piss? Well, there's a master of it right there. That's Dara O'Brien. The short answer is to satirize someone or something. Now the question is, do you want to know how it came about? Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. That's Mountain Dew, by the way. It basically comes from the fact that a man can get a false erection from having too much urine in his bladder. So if you take some of that away, it deflates him. I told you might not want to know. So let's move on to Cockney rhyming slang. This is a lot more fun. There's two fine examples right there. That's Chaz and Dave. They're musicians. Fantastic stuff if you ever can take a listen to it. It's not for everybody, but so who are the Cockneys? They are basically working class Londoners, and it is considered something of a derogatory term. But if you go by the social matter in between the chavs and the ooars, Cockney rhyming slang itself is basically an algorithm. You choose your word you want to encode, you find a phrase that rhymes with it, you shorten the phrase to the first word or two, usually. You don't have to always do that, but let's go ahead and give it a shot. Let's say we want to call somebody phony, like a fake. We'll call them a phony. So what's the phrase that rhymes with that? Let me see here. Yeah, there we go. Boy, that guy up on stage is a bit of a My Little Pony. Okay, maybe not. So let's go ahead and move on to some real examples that get used in Cockney rhyming slang. So apples and pears, stairs. I used that to get this talk, actually. You might have heard the phrase rabbiting on, rabbit, and pork, talk, or torque. If you're from England, I suppose. And so I use the phrase septic in the opening line. So we go yank, what rhymes with yank, septic, tank, shorten that to septic, and that is their term for an American, which is a yank. And it's really not that flattering, but but it turns out that there are some common slang here in the United States of America that are originally rhyming slang. So let's go ahead and get into some of those here as soon as the slide changes. So, how about the phrase, put up your dukes? So, one of the slang terms for hand is a fork. If you hold up two fingers, it looks like a fork. Duke of York, and then that gets shortened to dukes. Interesting, huh? Giving somebody the raspberry. Bronx cheer sounds like a fart. Rhymes with fart, raspberry tart. Shorten that to the raspberry. It's really interesting. I didn't know about any of these until I started researching this talk. So, how about money? Why is money called bread? Money rhymes with bread and honey, and that gets shortened to bread. And these are in the US too, and we don't think about where they come from. But here's the best one of all. Silly rhymes with a word, daffodilly, which is an old poetic phrase referring to a daffodil. I don't know exactly the origin of it, but if you shorten daffodilly, you get Daffy. And that is where the name of the famous cartoon duck actually comes from. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank everyone for putting this on. I'd like to thank the these two websites. They had a lot of great information, all the great photographers who licensed their photos under the Creative Commons. And I'd like to thank all of you for coming. You're all the dogs, Bollocks. Thank you very much.